Have you ever tried to change the default file upload button that you get in your browser? If not, let's do this together. In this video, first of all, with the help of HTML and CSS, we are going to create 3 different custom file upload buttons, and at the end of this video, I'm going to take it to the next level. So we are going to add the extra feature, something like image preview feature before uploading your image. So this kind of feature you can find it out in different social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So are you excited for this? Without further ado, let's start. Hello and namaste everyone, this is Jitsaru with Coding Design. Welcome to our channel. If you are new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now let's create an index.html file. Inside the index.html file, if I type exclamation sign and hit that tab button, then you will get this basic HTML code. For the title, I'm giving custom file upload button with pure CSS. Inside the body tag, let's create input element with type file. For the class, I'm giving file upload button. We are going to write few lines of CSS code, so I'm going to use internal CSS. For that, just below the title tag, I'm creating a style tag, and inside the style tag, for the universal selector, in order to prevent the browser's default margin and padding, I'm giving margin and padding 0, and also box sizing to border box. Now with the help of live server extension, I'm opening this index.html file in the browser. Now you can see this is the default file upload button that we get with the help of HTML code. Now with the help of CSS code, we will change it to our custom file upload button. For the body tag, let's give minimum height of 100 VH. For the background color, I'm giving this teal color. Now let's style that input element with class name file upload button. I'm giving width of 200 pixel. For the same file upload button class, I want to give the file upload button pseudo element. So this pseudo element may not be supported by all versions of browser. So at this screen you can see this is the different versions of browser that they do support this property. Okay, you can pause the video and look at this picture. And also for that I'm using this prefix WebKit. Now for that pseudo element, let's give the width of 100%. For the padding top and bottom, I'm giving 1.5 rem. For the left and right, 2 rem. And also let's give border none. For the border radius, I'm giving 2 rem. For the background color, I want to give the linear gradient color. Let's give the angle of 45 degree. For the first color, I'm giving orange red color. For the second color, let's give gold color. Now in the browser, you can see, I think this button is much more better than that default button. So I'm going to create 3 different types of custom file upload button. So for the proper alignment, let's give display flex to body. I'm giving flex direction to column, flex item to center, and justify content to center. Now let's duplicate this code, and for the class let's give v2. So we are creating the second version of the same button. Let's copy this line of code and let's paste it there, and let's add their class v2. I think for the justify content, instead of that center, let's give space evenly. This is what I want. Now for the second version of that file upload button, let's give background color of none, and for the border I want to give 3 pixel of width. For the border style, let's give solid, and for the color let's give orange color, and also for the text color let's give the same orange color. As you can see, there is now 2 custom file upload button. Now when you hover the class file upload button, let's give transform. I want to give the scale to 1.06. So now when you hover, you can see a kind of zoom in effect, but there is no any transition. So for that, for the class file upload button, let's give the transition. For the transition duration, I'm giving 3 seconds. For the timing function, let's give is in out. So with the help of this code, now when you hover the file upload button, you can see there is a smooth transition between that changes. Okay, as you can see, with the help of that file upload button pseudo element, we can create our custom file upload button, but it may not be supported by all the versions of browser. So which is a kind of a problem. So don't worry, I have solution for this problem. So now just above that input element, let's create div with class name profile, and inside that I'm creating label, and inside that label let's give the input element with type file, and also next to that input element let's create span tag with class name user. So I'm using HTML entity. So with the help of this code, you can get a person's emoji. So I'm writing ampersand hash 8100. So as you can see, you can get this kind of icon. So let me tell you, like if you want to use like better icon, like you can use different third-party libraries, something like Font Awesome, Material Icon, and there are so many third-party libraries. With the help of those libraries, you can give the unique icons, but I'm not going to use like third-party libraries, so I'm taking the help of HTML entity. Now let's duplicate this code, and instead of that 100, I want to give 247. So now with the help of that code, you can get camera emoji. Okay, so this is what I want. But if you don't have any kind of idea like what is HTML entity, basically how it works. Then you can directly use the emoji. So in Windows, if you press Windows key plus full stop, or you can call what dot period, then this pop-up window will occur where you can find different emojis. Okay, now let's tell that div with class name profile. So for that, let's give the position of relative. For the width and height, I'm giving 200 pixel, and let's duplicate that transition code and let's take it to that profile class. Okay, I have forgot something. For the class file upload button, when you hover, I have given the transform, but I want to add extra CSS code. I'm adding filter. For the filter, let's give the brightness. I'm giving brightness of 150%. Now, as you can see, when you hover, background color of that custom file upload button changes to bright color. And also, I want to give the same property for the class profile when you hover. So I'm using the comma. So now you can see when you hover this div with class profile, you'll get the same zoom in effect with some brightness. Now let's tell that label. As you know, that label is inline element, so because of that we can't give any kind of height and width. So I'm giving display inline block. So with the help of this code, now we can give height and width. Okay, as you can see, for the class profile I have given there 200 pixels of height and width, so we will take the same height and width. For that, for the width and height I'm giving 100%. And now let's give the background color. For the background color, let's duplicate the same linear gradient color and let's take it up there. And also let's give the border radius of 50% so that it would take the circle shape. And also let's give the border, I'm giving border width of 4 pixel. For the style, let's give solid, and for the border color, let's give white color. And also let's give the text align to center so that I can take everything at the center. And also let's give cursor to pointer so that when you hover that class profile or the label, you'll get that pointing hand icon. Now for the input type file, which is inside the div with class name profile, I want to give display none. Okay, I want to hide that input file element. As you can see, now there is no any input file element, but when you click that white border orange circle, you'll get the same functionality. When you click, you can browse your file, okay, or you can choose your file. Now for that input element with type file, let's take it down. Okay, it's time to style that class user that I have given for this span tag. I'm giving font size of 9 rem. Now you can see that huge icons and which is overflowing. So for that, for the label, let's give overflow hidden, and as you can see, overflowing elements are hidden. And also for the line height, I want to give 226 pixel. I think it is better to give 227 pixel. This is what I exactly want. And now for the class user, let's give the color. I'm giving transparent color. And for the background color, let's give black color. And also I want to give background clip, so I'm giving text. So this background clip is also the property that may not be supported by all versions of browser. For that I'm giving prefix WebKit. Now this is a kind of a trick, So with the help of that code, did you see that? I have changed that emoji to some beautiful icon. I think this is looking really great. Now instead of that class user, let's change it to camera. Now for the class camera, let's give position of absolute. For the background color, I'm giving yellow color, and for the line height, I'm giving none. Okay. Now for the padding, let's give 0.5 rem. And also I want to give the circle shape, so for that I'm giving border radius of 50%. For the font size, I'm giving 1.5 rem. And for the border, let's give border width of 4 pixel. For the style, I'm giving solid. And for the border color, let's give white color. And also let's take it to the pop-up position. So for that I'm giving bottom 0. For the right, I'm giving 15 pixels. Let's copy this code, and now when you hover that label for the class camera, let's duplicate this code, this transition. Okay, so let's take it to that class camera, and now when you hover that label for the class camera, I want to give the transform translate x-axis to -27.5%, and for the y-axis -43.5%, and also I want to give the scale I'm giving scale of 1.4. So now when you hover, okay, it's not working properly. So for that, for the border, let's give border width of 30 pixel. For the style, I'm giving solid, and for the color, let's give white color. Instead of this code, you could give something like border width to 30 pixel. It will work. You don't have to write this long code. Now when you hover, did you see that? So by pressing F11 key, let's take it to the full screen, and now when you click, you can see you can choose your file. So it's working. First custom file upload button is much more better than second and third. What do you see? Let me know in the comment box. Now let's take it to the next level with the help of JavaScript code. Now I want to add the extra feature, something like when you choose your file. So we want to add something like image preview feature. So for that, I'm using the JavaScript code, and let's comment out this code. There is few lines of JavaScript code. So again, I'm using the internal JavaScript code. So inside the script tag, I'm declaring variable let input file is equal to document.querySelector. So we are selecting that input element with type file, and now I'm adding an event change. Okay, so for that, I'm giving input file.onChange. I'm assigning arrow function, and inside that, first of all, let's console.log the e.target.files, and inside that bracket, let's pass the event e as parameter. Okay, we can use their dot files, so it is only available for that input element with type file. So in the browser, if I press F12 key and if you go to the console tab, now when I choose one of the file, you can see as soon as when there is any changes in that input element file in the console dot, you can see different properties of that file. Something like you are getting name of the file, size of the file, type of the file. There are so many things. And as you can see, you are getting that result in array. So now if I give the bracket 0, that means I'm accessing the first file that I have chose. Okay, now once again, let's choose this file, and in the console you can see we are getting all the attributes of the first file. So this is what I want, and now let's remove that console.log, and instead of that, let's store the same result in the variable file. And also I'm creating another variable URL, and I'm assigning url.create object URL, and inside that I can pass that variable file. And with the help of that code, I'm storing the image in our memory. You can see for the label, we have given the background of linear gradient color. Now first of all, let's select that label element. So I'm creating another variable profile image, and I'm assigning document.querySelector. So we are selecting that label. I want to change that label's background. Instead of that linear gradient, now we will display our image that you have selected. Okay, so let's give profile image dot style dot background is equal to, I'm using this backtick just above the tab button next to that number 1. You can find it out this key. So now with the help of this template literals, it is really easy to work with the string and the variables that we have created in the JavaScript code. So now let's write URL, and for the URL, let's give the same variable URL. It's a variable, so I'm writing dollar parenthesis, and inside that, let's paste that URL variable. Okay, now once again, let's go back to the browser and let's select this image. You can see you're getting that image, but there is some problems. As you can see, we have two emojis, camera and that user icon. So I want to remove that user icon as well. Okay, so as you can see inside the label, we have the span with class name user. So now we'll remove that element. So for that, I'm writing profile image dot query selector. So we are selecting that class user. For that, let's keep the CSS. I'm writing dot style dot display none. So we are hiding that user icon whenever you are selecting or whenever you are choosing any file. Okay, and also in the previous output, you could see like the background image was not in the pop-up position. So for that, let's keep the image position to center, and for the image size, if I type slash and give cover, and once again, let's go to the browser, and if I choose this image, now you can see it's working. So this is what we exactly want. Now you can see that, so before uploading any file, you can preview any image. So now with the help of that URL, we are storing our data in the memory. So in order to free up that memory space, with the help of setTimeUp function, within 0.1 second, within the arrow function, you can give url.remove object URL, and inside that method, let's pass that same variable URL. So with the help of this code, within 0.1 second, we can free up the memory space that was occupied by the image data that we have stored with the help of url.createObject method. So once again, let's go to the browser, and if I choose any file, as you can see, we have created this image preview file feature before uploading the file. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did learn something, smash that like button. If you have any kind of queries, let me know in the comment box. Share this video if you think someone needs it. And also, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell icon. Remember, there is always more to learn, so keep learning.